Hello again. We're back, and now this is video number 6. And we're going to talk about something that's very precious to all of us. It's our children. They are the next generation. And you know, the Bible says, raise your children in the way of the Lord, and when they are old, they will not depart from it. So hopefully if you teach your kids some good principles when they're young, they will continue that as they get older. There's some maps on the screen right now you're going to see, and it's really interesting to look at. This is the obesity trends, starting in, I think it's 1995 to 2015. It's really pretty alarming when you look and see what's happened. Every year, more and more people get heavier. Why is that? What's going on? 1/3 of our youth are overweight or obese. That's 23 million children and teenagers. That's measured on the obese body mass index, and that's if you're in the 95 percentile. You know, remember when your kids were little and they would measure what percentile? Well, the same thing. If you're in the 95 percentile, you're considered obese. So we have a real problem, not only with adults, but with the children. Some cities now are working, they're finally working and trying to figure out what's going on. You know, for years we would see on TV what they were feeding the kids, and many cities they still are. Pizza for breakfast, soda pops in the hallways. So people are finally beginning to try to make some changes for healthier foods, to educate people, to get them away from TVs and that kind of thing. So it has to start with education. You know, we have a partner that taught with us in the past. She had a daycare, and her name was Eloise, and she was actually a vegetarian. So she taught her kids in the daycare. It was amazing what they did. They ground their own oats, they grew their own vegetables, and she taught them how to do that. I thought that was a pretty novel idea for a daycare. And so they were eating really whole foods. One thing that we know is that if kids grow kale, they eat kale. So if you can get them in the dirt and get them to start learning how these foods grow and how they're harvested, there's a better chance you're going to eat it. Did any of you see the Jamie Oliver TV special that was on maybe 5 or 6 years ago? Well, it was pretty amazing. Jamie Oliver came to America from England. He was a chef. He is a chef. He was on the Food Network for a long time. He really changed the children's eating program in schools in England, and he came to America to try to do the same thing. So he went to the fattest nation in America. And you know what that was? It was West Virginia. He landed in West Virginia, and he had a TV special. This was all filmed. And he went into the schools and tried to change what the kids were eating. Well, you can see this on YouTube. The women were in their white dresses and their hair nets, the kitchen help. They weren't pleased. They did not want him there. But he went and he started trying to show them how they can be healthier. And he took one of the boys. He had a protege. He took a boy who was about 12, and he said, I'm going to make you my special assignment. And he took the boy. He actually had a restaurant in downtown West Virginia where he was doing some cooking. He taught the boy how to make stir fry. And it was really fun to watch him teach this boy, who, by the way, had a family back home who lived on processed food and who were all way overweight. So that's a good special. If you have a chance to look at it on YouTube, it's well worth it. You know, there's something else I want to talk about now. It's called food deserts. I just learned this probably a year ago, food deserts. Have you heard of food deserts? What they are areas, and you can see a lot of them are in the South. They're areas where people they don't have transportation. They don't have whole food. They don't have grocery stores, but they do have convenience stores. I don't know what you have where you live, but we have 7-Eleven, AM, PM, where you stop and get your gas. What do they serve in there that's healthy? Can you think of anything? I do know sometimes they have an apple or a banana basket by the cash register, but these people in the food deserts are living on these foods. This is all they eat because they can't get to a grocery store. And what's interesting, because they've been trained to eat those foods, when you try to get them to eat whole foods, a lot of times they don't want them. They're eating processed foods, and they're eating really calorie-dense foods, and they're sick. You know, I think I've told you earlier on these videos, it was I think the New England Journal of Medicine that said this could be the first generation where the parents outlive the kids. And these kids are the ones that are showing with adult onset diabetes at 3 years old. It's pretty hard when you have a young child like that with diabetes to teach them how to give themselves injections and how to monitor their diet. It is a problem. And we're causing this by the foods we're giving our kids. Our kids are our most precious commodity, and we need to really start making some decisions. I'm very passionate about this, and making sure that these kids learn how to eat right. You know, the kind of foods they want, you know, and I'm guilty. I had Twinkies in my lunch every day when I was growing up. My kids, my own kids, I tried to give them healthy food. I know they went to school a lot and traded. But you look at some of these foods. Here is an example. What good is in this little treat here? Do you see anything good? White flour, we talked about white flour, sugar, hydrogenated fat, which hydrogenation is twists the molecules. That's what's bad about hydrogenated fat. It turns the molecules upside down. It twists them from a cis formation to a trans. Your body knows what to do with this. It doesn't know what to do with this. There's a problem with all those artificial fats. And then red dye. These colorings, what are we giving these to our kids? And then we have just a couple of examples here. Jell-O. I can't think of a church buffet I've ever been to where there wasn't Jell-O. Look at this. Cherry Jell-O. There's no cherries there. It's sugar and artificial flavor. Banana Jell-O. There's no bananas there. Take a look there at the chemicals and things that are in there. These are the kind of foods that we eat and that we're feeding our kids. And I ask you, do you think those kind of ingredients and chemicals are going to grow healthy kids? I don't think so. In getting ready for these videos, I came across something interesting about microwaves, and I've already talked about the microwave. Use them sparingly. Okay, well, microwave popcorn tastes good, and it's easy, and it's quick, and probably cheap. But you know what? It is not good for you. There is actually a disease that is shown in microwave popcorn factories called bronchiolitis obliterans. I am probably not pronouncing that right, but it's from a chemical called diacetyl, which is artificial butter flavor is made from. These people who work in those factories are getting lung disease. They've named it. I say to you, if you want to give your kids popcorn, make it from scratch. And you know, I think that I have a video. You can actually put a popcorn in a brown paper bag and pop it in the microwave with dry pop and then put some butter. It's a lot healthier. And if you have a problem doing that, make a whole bunch at once. So you only have to do it once every 2 or 3 days. I talked a little bit about the cereals. Now, it's amazing when you look at these cereals. You know, I had an associate 20 years ago who was a vice president for a major cereal company. He didn't know anything about nutrition, but one weekend his wife had left a book on the coffee table, and it was about the kind of things we're talking about. He picked it up and started reading it. And when he went to work Monday morning, he was so excited about what he had learned that he went to the president and said, "Do you know how much sugar we put in our cereals? We need to start talking about making these cereals healthy." And you know what the president said to him? "It is not my job to make America healthy. My job is the bottom line." What is the message there, folks? You have to do what's right for you and your family. You have to make those choices on your own. So now if you want to get some healthy cereals, you'll find you can find them. And what's really always been interesting to me is they're half the price because they're not highly advertised. You're going to pay big bucks for all those cereals that we all know the names of. But if you go into a health food store, health food section, they even put fun covers on them so the kids will like them. They taste good, but they're so much healthier. They're usually made from whole grains. I want to tell you a story. I bought some Rice Krispies that had brown rice and quinoa. Quinoa is a grain. And I had that for breakfast last week, and you know what? I had to chew it and chew it and chew it and chew it because it was whole grain. I thought, well, if I had a bowl of Rice Krispies, regular Rice Krispies, do you think I'd have to chew it and chew it? No, it'd probably dissolve pretty fast. You just swallow it. So there's a lot more nutrition in these cereals. They are going to have whole grains in them. Now we have an issue that we know is a problem, and it's called screen time. The children today are in front of the screens all the time, and we've already talked about text neck. I hope you got that message about get those kids, if they're going to use the cell phones, you know they are, get their neck, get them holding the cell phone at a 90-degree angle or at least a 70-degree. That's so important because of the back. But now we have so much screen time. Kids aged 2 to 5 are watching 28 hours. Let me put my glasses on here. 28 hours a week. Kids just aged 6 to 11 are watching 32 hours a week. That's a lot of time. You know, when you think about a 40-hour work week, 32 hours for a child to sit in front of the screen is a lot of time. I'm no spring chicken here. I'll tell you what though. When I was in school, we went out to play. We went out on lunch breaks. We were forced out. We went on the playground. We roller skated around the block and we played hula hoops and jacks. We didn't have a lot of TV time. We know, I think we all know, that's a lot healthier. So if you can direct your kids as much as you can away from the TV, they may scream and they may yell. In fact, I think there's problems now when you try to take the young children, you try to take the cell phone away, they have tantrums because they're used to it. It's tough, but be thinking about what you can do for your family. I think I said this earlier in this video. Proverbs 22:6 says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. So I want to talk to you now about some healthy snacks. We were going to do a demonstration on this, but we decided it would be just as easy to show you on the screen. Popcorn in a brown paper bag. You see a picture there. That's easy to do. You can get away from that popcorn disease I told you about. Pop it up, put some nice butter or olive oil or grapeseed oil on there and salt. I love frozen cherries or frozen grapes. They're like little popsicles. Keep those around for the kids. We know about natural popsicles. I have another picture I'm going to show you on that. And there you can make those with juices. You can make creamsicles with yogurt and fruits. Plenty of recipes on the internet. You know, I used to make for my kids caramel corn, and I would pop the popcorn, and then I would put molasses and honey. Yes, that's still sugar, but at least there's some nutrition in it. And some peanuts or some almonds, and I would mix it and mix it and mix it, and then lay it on a cookie sheet, bake it for 20 minutes till it's crisp. You have delicious caramel corn, and you've kind of been in control of what's in that caramel corn. And there's something else. I've seen them in the store now. They're called kale chips. It's nothing more than kale that's taken off the stem, broken in small pieces, mixed with some good healthy oil, and baked for 20 or 25 minutes at 350, 400 degrees. They're crispy, and then you sprinkle a little salt. They're crispy, they're delicious, and the kids will love those. You're going to see some more ideas here on these kale chips. There's a little suggestion on how to do it. There is the popcorn. We talked about the caramel corn. The popsicles you can play with. My partner's daughter has a specific recipe. It calls for blended. You blend yogurt and fruits, and that's all you have to do. And then freeze them. And another thing I just love are the natural sodas. You can buy concentrated. I say concentrated because it's thicker and it's not diluted yet. And you put a teaspoon or a tablespoon in the bottom of a glass, pour in bubbly water, grape juice, apple juice, pineapple juice, stir it up, put some ice on it. It does taste like a soda pop, and it's more natural. You can control the amount of sweetness that they're getting in that. Well, there's two things I want to tell you. Something that I forgot to say on one of the past slides. We were talking about antacids, and so many people take them, and that it's a real problem. You know, you might think about going to your health food store and getting a complete digestive enzyme. This is something that your body would naturally make. Perhaps your problem is you're not digesting your food. A complete digestive enzyme. We do offer that on our website through a product. We have a professional product. Anybody who's listening to these videos can now get professional only products through Health Treasure Chest. And we do have a enzyme there. You can also pick something up at the health food store. Finally, I get so busy teaching, I forget to tell you about the book. This is my book, Ron Lowry and myself, and it really this 10-week series is really from this book. This book comes with a diet, the 28-day Inside Out Rejuvenation Plan. It's a workbook, a diet that you can do with it, that takes all the principles in the book and applies them to what you're going to eat. So there you go. I had fun talking to you today. I hope you'll treat those kids right, and I'll see you for the next video.